guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is about Decades Week. For the last few years, I've been doing Decades Week the first week of May. Technically the last week of April and like a few days into May, but same difference. And so I do a YouTube video around the time that I finished Decades Week, talking about each look, how I put them together, what's vintage, what's not, my difficulties, and my strengths. So this is the 2020, not 2020, we're not time traveling. This is the 2025 edition of I Participated in Decades Week. To start off, 1990s. Now, the 90s, I decided to go with a grunge look this year. I've never attempted a 90s grunge look. Well, technically I did a few months ago, but I don't know if it's considered grunge or not. I wanted to go full-blown grunge mode. So I put earrings in my hair, and I put my hair up in one of those hair clip things, and did my makeup a little darker than I normally do. The only thing that is vintage with this look are the glasses, which are from the 90s, and the clerk shirt that I'm wearing, which is my dad's. I'm not sure if it's from the 90s or the early 2000s, but it is vintage. And so I think it turned out really good. I think next time around maybe I'd get like some black tights and a skirt and maybe a brighter plaid. But overall, for my first attempt, pretty good. Day two was the 1980s. 1980s is my favorite decade of all time. The music, the vibes, the movies, everything. So when it comes to the 80s, I have the most clothes for it, especially 1980s sweaters. So for this one, I wore a vintage, true vintage, 1980s sweater. It reminds me of autumn, so I wore some autumn leaf earrings. I believe the sweater is the only thing that is true vintage to the outfit. The jean jacket I'm wearing looks vintage, but I don't think it actually is. I think it's just made to look that way. It doesn't have a tag on it, so I can't tell, but it really just pulled the look together. The overall look, I think, turned out really well. I don't have a lot of hair. My hair is very thin. So this time around, I didn't put my hair in curlers, which is what I usually do when I do 80s. I just used my natural hair, and luckily that day my hair was acting nice for me. It was very curly, but even when it's very curly, my hair is thin, so I can't get the natural big volume that 80s hair had unless I put a lot of product in it and do a lot to it, and I didn't want to do that. So I was being lazy. So I just went with what I had. Day three was the 1970s, and when it comes to the 70s and 60s, that is not my expertise. I am not an expert in fashion, movies, makeup, songs, anything. I'm not an expert in any of these decades. I just fangirl over the 80s the most, so I at least got some knowledge. For the 1970s, I went with a more simplistic look. So I went with a turtleneck, which were popular in the 70s, with my bell-bottom jeans that have made an appearance in other Decades Weeks before, because they're the only bell-bottom jeans I own. And I have a jacket. Now, last year I wore a similar jacket, but it was bigger. That one was my grandfather's jacket. The jacket I'm wearing this year is much newer. It is not vintage, but it gave a similar feel, and it was easier to get to in my closet of vintage madness. So I went with that. I put a bandana in my hair and tried to make my hair look as fluffy as possible. I went with my natural hair with this look as well. The glasses that I'm wearing, I bought on Amazon a few years ago for a cosplay that I did, so they are also not true vintage. I believe that I don't think anything in that look is true vintage. Not the boots, not the pants, nothing. It's all recreation stuff. But it looked pretty good, so I'm fine with that. Day four is the 1960s. For this look, I used a dress that made an appearance in a video I did a couple weeks ago where I went to an antique mall. Now, I don't know if this dress is true vintage or not. I haven't done any research, but it gives off the vibes of true vintage. I do believe it is, but I don't know for certain. I'm not a giant fan of pink, but I decided to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and wear a pink dress. I paired it with a pair of go-go boots that I received from a fan a few years ago. They're also part of the 1970s look. And I used these big green earrings that I also received from a fan. They're supposed to be 80s earrings, but they work really well for the 1960s, so I just use them for that anyway and call it good. My hair, I tried to put it up in a ponytail in the back to make it look like bigger, beehive-like, but from certain angles you can see how thin my hair is. But I did try. 60s hair especially, I just suck at. I've talked about this multiple times. Trying to do beehives and just 60s hairs is not my friend. Not my friend. Day 5 was the 1950s. The dress I am wearing I got at an estate sale. I'm not sure if it's true vintage. I don't think it is. It's not new, but it's not 1950s. The pearl earrings and necklace are vintage. I have worn them quite a few times throughout different looks I've done over the years. And the shoes are not vintage either. The only vintage piece is the jewelry. The makeup, I did a simple gold eyeshadow that matched the gold color of the dress, and just a little bit of eyeliner, and then obviously I colored in my eyebrows. And if you guys make any comments about my eyebrows, please don't. They are never twins, they are always sisters, sometimes third cousins. Eyebrows and me don't mix. I have to color in my eyebrows every time I cosplay anything that reveals my forehead because my eyebrows are very light and I would look really stupid if I didn't. I curled my hair using curlers for this look, and then I pinned it back. It's accurate in a sense. The bangs, not so much, but having bangs and then trying to do vintage looks is always difficult. If I didn't have bangs, life would be a lot easier, but I do, and I have a giant forehead, so I need them. Day 6 is the 1940s. The dress I am wearing is actually a 1930s wedding dress. I was going to originally wear this for the 1930s, but it was just too fancy, and I thought it fit better with the 40s. I curled my hair this day as well. It is pinned in a similar fashion to the 50s, just a little different. Bangs are exactly the same. I think I did my bangs the exact same way for the 50s, 40s, and 30s because it worked, so why not? I used, I believe, purple? No, blue eyeshadow for this look. And instead of doing a winged eyeliner, I just did a simple, like, framing the eye eyeliner without the little points. When it comes to the 40s look, the only vintage piece is the dress. Everything else is modern. But it's a very gorgeous dress. I got this at an antique mall a year or two ago. It is one of my favorite dresses. It is very fragile, but it is so cute. And when you spin around and the dress just flows around you, it's fantastic. Day 7 is the 1930s. I am wearing a dress that I have worn on my channel before. I believe it is a 40s, 50s dress. It is true vintage. I'm just not sure exactly what decade it's from. It gives me 40s vibes. However, I decided to wear it for the 30s. I did my hair. I curled it. My bangs are exactly the same, and my hair is shorter because obviously in the 30s, hair was styled shorter. I used purple eyeshadow and similar eyeliner techniques that I did for the 40s, but my eyebrows are pencil thin. I tried. I think I look terrible with very thin eyebrows. I just don't think it fits my face very well, specifically because I have a giant forehead. But that's a personal opinion. I tried my best, but eyebrows are not my specialty at all. Day 8 is the 1920s. In the past, I have done flapper girl looks, but I wanted to do a more everyday look. The dress that I'm wearing I bought off of Amazon. It's not perfect for the 1920s, but it's the closest thing that I could get. The hat is also not true vintage, but it is a 1920s style hat, and I think it really went with the dress. The hair in those days was very short, as was with the 30s. I believe in the 20s they had pencil thin eyebrows as well. I didn't do that. I don't like them. I try to do it as little as humanly possible. I didn't do much makeup with this look, but I did do a little bit to, you know, make my features pop. Nothing in this outfit is vintage at all. But, you know, I was having fun and jamming out, and that's what matters in the end. And the final day of Decades Week was the 1910s. None of this outfit, except for the pin at my neck, is vintage. The outfit I'm wearing, I also got on Amazon. I had to buy the 20s and the 10s this year because I don't dress in that very often and I don't have much. And I try to make the looks different every Decades Week. I don't want to wear the same outfit every year because what's the point? I want to make it different so it's like, wow, I've never seen that before. That's what I try to do. My best. So the dress is 2 pieces. It is very comfortable. the top is not the most accurate top. So what I did is I got a vest and I put that over top of it. And then I had this piece for my different shirt that I tied around my neck and then tucked in. So that way it looked like it went up to here. The original shirt that went with this dress did not do that. And then I added a pin. It is not from the 1800s. I'm guessing 50s, 60s. I love cameo pins. I collect them. They're awesome. So I put that on there. And then I used some older glasses. They're not vintage. They just look older. And then a glasses chain that I believe I got from a fan at one point or another. I believe I used it last year as well. My hair was far from accurate. Normally what I do is I at least pin it in the back to make it look semi-accurate. This year, I put my hair in a bun and I called it good. So from the front, it looks fantastic. From the side, it looks a little silly. But I was too lazy to change it. So if you're watching the TikToks and you see the bun, pretend you didn't. Alright? Alright. I had a lot of fun this year, as I do every year. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing it. Decades Week has been a staple for the last few years. I do vintage on occasion. I used to do it a lot more than I do now. I'm trying to get back into it, but I mean, doing vintage can be a lot of work. You know, sometimes I have to put curlers in the night before and sleep in them, and they suck. Let me tell you, they suck to sleep in so much. And then, you know, I have to pick out my outfit and do my makeup and pick out songs. And, you know, from an outsider point of view who doesn't make content, they're like, that sounds easy. And, you know, it's not like a 9-to-5 very serious job. But it is a lot of work, and I do enjoy it, and I want it to look good. I want it to be accurate as I can be, while also having fun. It's a lot of work. It's very tiring. My skin hates me by the end of it, but it's having a mission every day, you know, putting a look together, picking out the audios, making the TikToks, taking the pictures. It's a lot of work. It's an added thing that I have to do every day, but I enjoy it. Comment down below what your favorite look from this week was. Personally, I think my favorite was either the 1950s or the 1980s, which I'm a little biased because those are my favorite decades to dress in. But I think both of those are my favorites. But I liked all of them. I had fun the entire week. And next week, I will not be posting a video, as next week is my birthday week. I am turning 24. I'm turning 24 next week. So I had decided that I am not going to be posting a video next week. I'm not going to worry about it. I just want to enjoy it and have fun. So, yay! Alright guys, I hope you have a fantastic week ahead of you, and I will see you when I return. Alright guys, I'll see you later.